Hello everyone, it's been a minute and this is kind of an impromptu video, but I've been meaning to share this on this channel, so I thought this was a good time to do it. I have the time, no one is here to bother me, so I wanted to just jump right in. If you came here for the title or the thumbnail, obviously you know what this video is going to be about, but I'm going to lead up to that. I'm going to explain what I mean by that, and first I want to talk about why I came to that conclusion and where I am now with that understanding. So first, when we want to work with a demon, and this across the board for any entity, being, spirit, but here I want to talk about when you want to work with a demon. But this absolutely applies, in my opinion, to all of the above. So sometimes we have a difficult time connecting, or sometimes we have a difficult time even wanting to connect, but we are feeling drawn to that demon, or something's telling you that you should work with that demon. And this was interesting. I was having a cup of coffee a few hours before I'm making this video, and I was watching some YouTube videos, and I came across a Black Witch Dyra's, one of her videos, where it was crazy. That's how I knew I had to make this video, because what she was talking about, I think her video was titled something like Working with Lucifer, and what she was talking about was pretty much a lot of what I wanted to share here today. So I wanted to give my experience on that, and not necessarily working with Lucifer, but I'm going to share something about Lucifer towards the end of this video. But let me just jump right into it. So right when you want to connect, and sometimes that's difficult, and you may have done all the work, all the research, all the things that you have been told or know to do, but there's still no connection. Or you feel a resistance to working with a demon, but something in you, like you're drawn to wanting to work with that demon, but you feel this resistance, so you just, you back off. Speaking from experience. So what I want to add to that is, sometimes when that happens, we ask ourselves, what's the problem? And we automatically think that we did something wrong, we missed a step, or that demon doesn't want to work with us, when that could totally be the case. And in this instance, it is kind of the case, but just let me explain. Stick with me. So when I have a list, right? There's a list of things that I do before working with a new demon, right? I do my due diligence, and as I mentioned on this channel, I don't dig too deep, because I don't want my perception skewed by what someone else's personal experience is. So I stick to the basics, and then I put my invocation together and begin the process. So on that list, I would like to include the thing that I feel like can be an issue for a lot of people, especially when you're beginning and on this beginning to work with demons, is when you feel this resistance or you don't get this connection. Look at what your perception is based on the things you may have been through in your life. So what I mean by that is, just about all of us have experienced some form of rejection, but many of us have experienced this rejection from the time when we were babies, from the time even before we were born, because we pick up those energies of what our parents have felt or gone through. So even before you were born, you may come into this world with that energy. Or it could be some traumas you have experienced as a child, well into your adulthood. So especially as a child, these things, and especially depending on the level of that situation or those difficult times, it can have, some things are easy to get over, right? You do a little shadow work and you do some healing and it's gone. But some things kind of stick with you for quite some time because you have to peel that thing like an onion. Like, his levels of healing through some traumas. So I'm really, really speaking about those things that were implemented and kind of grabbed hold of you and is there, and these are the things that can be hindering you and blocking you, and you may not even know it, but that resistance you feel or that lack of being able to connect could be you unconsciously blocking these things from even happening, blocking you from receiving what may be trying to connect with you, right? Because you put your shield up. A lot of times we don't realize we automatically build this shield wall. So when that happens, and this is all based on our fears it's based on many things, but I'm speaking about those things that hinder us because of the things that we've been through in our lives, and we develop this kind of knowing. So the other thing from going through these things in our childhood that stick with us has made us have self-doubt, a lack of confidence, a lack of self-worth. This can all stem from rejection, not receiving the love or not being heard, and being told, you're not achieving the things you need to achieve, being told that all the time, or being told just being fed negative things growing up as a child. This sticks with you. And when you want to connect with the demon, these are things you need to consider. So these are things, when you make that list, put on that list of due diligence, right? When you're going to work with a new demon, work with demons in general, ask yourself, is this my perception based on what I've been through going to affect the way that I receive these energies or not receive these energies? So the reason what made me think about this or want to share this with you is because this was something that I was going through. I kind of understood that, but, it was in the back of my mind. I understand shadow work, right? I understand not being healed from something. I understand the logic behind how it can affect the things that you do in your life. But it was just like in the back of my mind when it came to working with demons. So it was really, for some reason, the last month or so that I've been feeling this pull to work with Lilith. And there have been some synchronicities and messages that I feel strongly are pushing me to work with Lilith. Now, I have begun that process, and when I say process, it's a long, slow process. So it was, a few years ago, maybe more than a few years ago, that I initially started working with Lilith. And I wouldn't even say working with, because for me, working with means I've invoked the demon, and I've done this, repeatedly, and I petitioned for things, and just about 99.9% of the times when I work with a demon, it is to petition something for me, to develop my gnosis and to develop, my path. So I have not really done that with Lilith. For some reason, every time I decide, okay, I'm going to work with Lilith, there's this resistance. So I was shown, and it's interesting because what I'm going to share about Lucifer led me to this eye-opening understanding. So, you know what, let me stop here and explain that, and then I'll go back into, I don't want to confuse you, but, so let me pause here, right? I got these downloads and messages that came from, on Patreon, I put together this invocation for working with Prometheus, the aspect of Lucifer that is Prometheus. So I'm still learning and still understanding this. However, the reason why I wanted to work with that aspect of Lucifer is years ago when I did my first past life regression. In that, the person that was doing it for me asked me, I'm in my trance state, and they kind of, gently guide you through. She asked me, do I have a guide? And if so, what is their name? So I remember this, I'm in a trance state, and when she said that, this light blue tall being showed up. It was like the silhouette of a being, very much human-like, and I knew it was masculine. And then she asked me to ask his name, and I was like, what's your name? And he said Prometheus. Now, this was years ago. I knew not much about Prometheus. I knew a little bit about Prometheus in mythology, but very little. So I heard Prometheus, and I'm not going to go into the past life regression. However, when I was drawn to working with this aspect of Lucifer, that was recalled. And when I did the research, some of the research on Prometheus, one of the descriptions I came across was he's this light blue being. So that all kind of like the synchronicities of me being drawn to work with that aspect of Lucifer made me want to do it even more. So when I did that, I did a couple of invocations, and it was like, so working with Lucifer, like I said, when I work with the demons that I work with, it is to develop my gnosis. So this is what happens when I work with Lucifer. It's like he's the light bringer. He's shedding some light on my situation and shedding, like kind of giving me direction on my path and the things that I currently am into and doing. So when I did this invocation, or the couple of invocations that I have done with this aspect of Lucifer, Prometheus, that is what was happening and still happening. It is that aspect, but, Prometheus is the bringer of fire. And this is kind of that energy of, I'm hearing initiation. That's not what I want to say. Igniting. And so, when you've been given the plan to do something, this is the fuel to set it in motion. I'm getting chills thinking about it. But it is the fuel, the fire to ignite it, the passion, giving me the passion to want to do those things, right? Because sometimes you could have a plan laid out and it's just like, oh, how do I do that? Do I have the willpower to do that? This is the willpower, right? It is the fire, like, under your ass to get you up and moving and putting those things into action. So that is what I've been feeling. I've, had some experiences in the astral after that I'm not going to share, but I just wanted to kind of give some context on why I am, one of the reasons why I am bringing this up and wanting to work more with Lilith, because that was one of the things. But so now backtrack. Going back to Lilith. So like I said, it's a slow process. I've started, and I've even created a beautiful sigil that I love. So I did an invocation with Lilith for that sigil. And now I even set up a place on one of my altars for her. And one of the reasons why I feel like, going back to what I was talking about, things happening in our youth, I had a lot of traumatic experiences, and I have a difficult relationship. I wouldn't say it's difficult, but it is not like a loving mother-daughter relationship. So my experience with my mother, like this mother figure, has been a difficult one. And, even from a child. So I'm not going to get into the details of that. I love her, and I love what the things she's had to do and sacrifice for us, me and my siblings. But to add, insult to injury, we grew up in a Christian home. I grew up in Christianity, and my mother till this day is a Christian pastor. So there's that, right? You see how that can be an issue with who I am. So it will never be a conversation that will be a deep conversation. It would always be this surface conversation, because we can't really share the things that we do. So that was an issue, and I don't want to say still is an issue, because I don't like to speak things, right? I like to say that, speak it in the state that I want it to be, but it has hindered me from working with Lilith. And I've worked with, I realized this when working with Hecate, so I kind of got through that, because she is a different energy, right? She is more, for me, a guiding force, very stern, right? She'll be like, get the fuck up off your ass and do the thing. But for me, for some reason, I guess because I'm more drawn to the darker things, I'm guessing, but for some reason, Lilith's energy is more intimate. That's the word I want to use. It's more intimate. And I know people have different experiences with demons. And some may even be like, demons aren't like, mother figures but when you think about a mother energy, or what a mother does, this is what I feel like people mean when they say this demon is this mother energy. Because that mother energy helps guide you, helps protect you, helps nurture what it is that you need. So I feel those things about Lilith. So that may be, when I feel that may be the resistance. And I feel that working with Lilith, taking that deep dive and actually working with Lilith, will be the thing that helps me heal the remnant of what still remains from my past. So, you know, this is why I love working with demons, because a lot of them are not soft about it. They're like, that's there. That's what's stopping you. Get over it. Get it out. Let it go. Move on, you know, and stop blaming others. You now have a choice to either keep it or let it go and let it hinder you from, you know, your full potential. Because that's what's happening. When you hold on to something, it is hindering you from your full potential of connecting with the demon, from your full potential of understanding, from your full potential of manifesting. So this is, and I'm getting chills just thinking about it. So yeah, so I wanted to share that because there can be some of you that's out there, especially if you're beginning and new to working with demons or all of the above. You may feel like when you can't connect, you may feel like, right, you'll be taken back to that rejection. You'll be taken back to that moment when you felt not loved. So that's what will sometimes happen, right? It's a form of rejection when a demon doesn't want to connect with you, or you feel like you can't connect to that demon. It is almost a form of rejection. So then that kind of like you're taken back. So this is why I say it's very important for you to not go to that headspace, but to think about, okay, let me troubleshoot. Let me, you know, go deeper in understanding why there may be a resistance, why maybe that I can't connect. And not all the time, you know, not every demon is, I'm going to use this word, that's not the word I really want to use, but compatible. Like, not every demon is compatible with your energy, right? We all resonate, our auras, our bodies, we all resonate. We have energy signatures. So we are not always going to be able to connect. It'll be kind of a difficult connection, right? So it's not always the case that you even need to understand that, right? So put a little list together. I do my due diligence, do the research. Let me check the attributes of this demon. And are any of those attributes something that I may have difficulties with? So, for example, if you look at the correspondences of this demon and you see across the board, this demon may be in connection to the planet Venus. I know for me, Venus is the rule of my chart. I am Taurus rising and Libra sun. Venus is all up in my life. I do Venusian things. However, the planet is in a rough place in my chart. And so for me, I have to understand when I move and navigate Venus energies, I have to understand how to do that in my way because of the difficult placement in my chart where Venus is at. So you got to think about all of these things, right? It's not just, I have the information. I see they told me this is how to contact the demon. Let me do it that way, because their way might not even be the right way for you. Like I said, we all have. This is why we are unique. This is why our experiences, our UPG is different sometimes. Because when two different energies connect, it creates something that may not be the same thing that other person has experienced. So you got to think about all these things. Don't go to the default setting of something's wrong with me. I did something wrong. I'm going to give up. Don't go to that default setting. Think about it. Just go deeper. That demon may be wanting to help you. And again, I know a lot of people are like, demons don't want to help you. But in the act of the demon maybe not coming forth, in that that is helping you, because you want to ask yourself why. It could be something about you that you need to work on. So take it as a lesson that you need to just go deeper and be reflective, go inside. Don't always go to, I've been rejected and they don't like me. So, and I'm sorry, I know the light is going in and out. Sorry about that. But yeah, so these are all the things that I wanted to share. I actually wanted to share, and I'll do B-roll. I actually wanted to share the sigil that I created to work with Prometheus, Lucifer. It was simply Lucifer's, because I wanted to have, right, Lucifer. So it's simply his sigil, and at the bottom you'll see a fire to represent Prometheus and the fire element symbol. So I wanted to merge those two together to call forth the aspect of Prometheus. So after the invocations, what I've been doing is periodically, not on any specific time, but when I feel led, I light a candle and repeat some of the things that I put in the invocation to kind of keep, like Prometheus, right, the fire, trying to keep that energy of that fire ignited. So that's what I've been doing, if anybody's interested. Or if you're interested, go over and check out the invocations on Patreon. But I am going to continue doing that, and maybe I'll keep you posted with my journey with Lilith, because for some reason it's really, and another one of the synchronicities was highlighted if you follow astrology. And remember, I said it's been like the last month or so that I've been feeling this desire to work more deeply with Lilith. The Black Moon Lilith aspect in astrology has moved into Scorpio, and when this happens, it stays in that sign for about 9 months. So when things stay in a sign for an extended period of time, there is the chance that you may be influenced by these energies. So that happened, I believe, the end of March and the beginning of May. So this is around the beginning of April, sorry. The end of March and the beginning of April. So this is around the time that I was feeling these energies even more, because it's been on and off. So the stars are aligned, the synchronicities are showing up. So I feel like this is the right time to work with Lilith and to get rid of the remnant of the past, let those things go, and so evolve. So this is what I wanted to share with you in this video. If you have any questions about Prometheus, I'm just beginning this journey, so I don't know if I can really help you much. But if you've worked with this aspect of Lucifer, please do share. I would be interested in hearing your experience and your journey. Thus far, it has been very enlightening. And again, it could be, right, because this is the time. And so that's another thing you got to put on the list, right? You have to think about all these things. I'm sorry to go back to that, but right, is the timing right? It could be not the right time, because sometimes when you rip a Band-Aid off something, you could be removing the scab, right? It may not be the right time, right? Sometimes we don't have the patience. We need patience, right? I don't have that much patience, but if I'm doing something that's taking me a slow time to do it, it's because I have resistance, not patience. But so I'm working on that. But we need to just have a list. Have your list of things you have to, like, checklist, the check off that you've researched, that you've done, in order to develop this connection, this relationship with the demon. You know what? Maybe I'll put a little checklist together, and, you know, if you're interested in that, I will share that. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a little checklist together for those that you know, I have a chat with, and they're beginners. Maybe I could hand that checklist off, because these are things that's necessary, because our brains and our, you know, we are our worst critics, right? So our brains, we go off into some kind of a bad space when we don't feel like we achieve the things that we want to achieve. But that is enough for this video. Until the next video, I love you all, and into the shadows.